What would like a normal, I know it's very different depending on whose work you're considering, but a normal like day to day in the lab or some of the requirements like our presentations, our lab meetings and all that type of stuff. I don't know if it's different in other labs personally, but just like a normal experience, I guess.
That's a very good question. So when a student joins the lab, initially you have some lab trainings that you need to complete with the EH&S. So we'll schedule you for those trainings and you need to pass them to then, officially start working in the lab. And it's just, you have some reading material that you have on Brightspace, and you will be able to say this more since you must have recently done this. So you would have some reading material, you'd have a quiz based on it, and once you pass the quiz, and it's a very easy quiz. If you've read the material, the questions are very straightforward. And once that's done, then you can start actually doing hands-on work in the lab. And initially, because some of the students coming in are very new, they have no experience being in a lab, I start off by having their, I assign a graduate mentor to them, and then they get to, or a senior undergraduate student. So graduate mentor or a senior undergraduate student mentor. And these students are asked to kind of start reading some papers. We send them publications on, whether it's nanoparticle work or tissue engineering work that they're doing, and be a little bit more familiar with the area in general. Like, why are we doing this research? Why is this important? And then slowly, the students start to, shadow the mentor, see the different techniques that's being done in the lab. And one thing I do to the students who come into the lab, and you know this as well, Nave, that I ask you to, whenever you have time, and you can come into the lab, and even if your mentor is not available, you can shadow a different mentor if they're doing something. Some research and you want to learn what it is, I always encourage students to do that. So if you have a mentor, it's not like you have to always be with your mentor. You can be with any senior student in the lab, shadowing them and learning all these different techniques. And then once you're comfortable with these techniques and you've watched it and you're comfortable making notes in the lab notebook, then you move on to actually doing hands-on work. Initially, you will do this, under the supervision of your mentor. And then once you're comfortable, you can start doing these techniques on your own. I ask students to present a paper during lab meetings if they don't have any data to show. But as the student, works more in the lab and starts to generate data, I encourage students to present that data in the lab meeting, because I think it's very crucial for you to be able to tell other people what is it that you do and why is it important, and you must be able to answer questions on your project. And so for that, it's important that you're able to present your data in front of your peers. Undergraduate students in the lab have also had the opportunity to present during research showcases at URI. And, there are SURF students, so they present at the SURF program meeting. So these are all opportunities to talk about their work with other people and get used to answering questions. And, it also helps you think more about your work and do additional studies based on the comments and questions you've received for your poster. So all of those are, components that helps you develop as a researcher.
Yeah, it's definitely very intimidating if you don't know what to expect, because especially for myself, I didn't know anybody who did it. So it can definitely be a lot at first, but I mean, your lab specifically, like I felt much more relaxed once I actually talked to everyone. You guys were like, don't worry, I don't expect you to like know what you're doing. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I never worked in a research lab. And when I remember I walked in, I thought it was going to look like a teaching lab. And I was like, it's just one bench, but it's much different. So
yeah, it's very, very, very common for a new student to come in and feel like, do I fit in? What do I need to do? What do I need to know? But that's how everybody starts in the lab. The first semester is just a learning, you're just learning what's like in the lab, and it's completely okay to feel like, what am I doing here? But then I've seen very, very often that, by the second semester, everybody picks up and they're more comfortable doing things, because now they know the students in the lab, they know what needs to be done, and they're more comfortable.